Here now is Senator Shelley Moore Capito. She is a Republican senator from West Virginia and Appropriations Committee member. She was at the tax meeting with the president. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if you heard Senator Bob Corker say that tax policy was barely discussed at lunch. Is that true?
I would disagree. I thought we had a wide-ranging discussion, but certainly tax reform, the importance to do it, the importance to us as members. In the question and answer segment, it was very heavily covered. I thought we got a good feel for where we all are. I really did.
What kind of details? What did you learn that was new that you didn't know before?
You know, I didn't really learn anything especially new from the framework that we've seen, but the encouraging part is the president really emphasized, and our members, I think, who asked the questions, to make sure that this tax reform or tax cut is targeted to the middle-income earner. That's where we want to see the greatest relief.
Yeah.
The president also reemphasized the importance of lowering the corporate rate to get growth and to spur job growth. So those were the two main takeaways. Other than that, the president expects flexibility as this process moves forward.
Flexibility on what?
Well, flexibility on some of the details. In other words, where the income brackets might be, what the top rate might be, and those kinds of things.
So do you feel like, I mean, we always say this, when you go to a negotiation, you know up top what you think you might be willing to give away. What are the things out there that you feel like are on the table? It sounds like you're saying the tax bracket is the thing that's on the table and the first to go.
Well, I think the upper level tax bracket is something that, initial plans moved down to 35%. I think that there's a willingness to look at moving it back up. So that was one of the flexible issues. I think where the income levels fall in the brackets has still been undetermined, depending on where the revenues would be. But I think also in terms of the corporate tax rate, I don't believe there's much flex there. I think we're all sort of settling on the 20, but there could be a little movement one way or the other. I led an amendment that said that the state and local tax deduction should be kept into the mix as a deduction that favors the wealthy, and I think that we ought to keep all of this on the table as a form of generating revenue. So there's still a lot kind of moving and shaking here.
So you feel like the idea that state and local tax deduction, do you think that in the end it will be there, it won't be there? Is it maybe, I've heard people talk about maybe you swap that for a property tax and that phases out at a certain income level?
I think what we might see there is some ability for those folks in maybe the lower or mid area that take that state and local tax deduction to give them some preference there, and maybe as you move higher into the income levels to remove that deduction. I think. So I think my point was, let's keep it on the table as a negotiating item.
Yeah. I mean, the way the plan is spelled out, regardless of what the Democrats say, it sounds like it's horrible for rich people. Does that necessarily make sense at a time when we're trying to spur the economy? I understand the focus is on working middle-class people, and without question, that makes sense. But you don't want to give everyone a break at a time when we're trying to raise the economy?
I think everybody's going to see we're going to raise the standard deduction, which is going to give everybody some relief. I think that small businesses and people who do pass-throughs are going to see relief, which I think is going to help those who own their own business, but those who work for small businesses. I think on the corporate tax side, many of the folks who are major owners or major owners of large corporations or shareholders or whatever are going to see some relief there, but also folks who work there. I think the studies show that you could see as much as $3,000 to $4,000 more in your wages. So I think we need to look at it in the entire package and not say who this is going to hurt and who this is going to help.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel that you're going to get something done for this year? We're going to see tax reform, 10 being blessed certitude.
Well, I can tell you what, I tend to be on the optimistic side, but somebody asked me this very question about a half an hour ago. I gave it an 8.
Oh, okay. Well, we like that. Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Senator, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you'll come back and talk to us again about this, because our show is totally focused on tax reform. Our audience really cares about it. Thanks for coming on.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.